Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. The heat wave might be over in your part of the country, but it isn't here. Now, you've probably experienced something of a higher than average temperature, no matter where you're at in the country this year, and especially if you're in the Sun Belt. Down here in the western side of Texas, we've got heat. It's hot. It's just hot. It's just hot. I will say the one saving grace is that we don't usually have the humidity. That's a whole nother deal. You add 80% humidity to like 90 degrees and you have a whole nother ball of wax. However, it's still hot. Last year I actually did a video talking about forging axes in 100-degree heat, and a lot of people are like, it's not that hot. Well, that was the temperature outside. So you add the fact that we're in a steel-roofed, low-roofed shop with the UV index of like 12 or whatever it is, plus put a forge on the edge of the building or just outside the door. The temperature in here is actually like 120, 125, and I didn't ever bother to bring a thermometer in here, but I do have a little oven thermometer in here this year that's just sitting there, and that's what it reads, at least when we've got all that going on. So how do you work in that day in and day out and not end up with some heat exhaustion, which I have done before, but I've got a little secret weapon that I've been using for some time now, and I'm going to share it with you. First thing you got to do is get you some fans. This is a big fan from Tractor Supply. This is a little fan from a different place, and I need to clean my bench off. Anyway, the point is you got to have some airflow because that is crucial for this type of not dying in the heat. So you need some fans. That's going to be pretty important, but you're actually looking at the backbone of my cooling system right here. This is what my people used to use years and generations before they became entombed in the air-conditioned halls of the digital age, and that is your own sweat. And so when you say sweat, blood, and steel, blood, sweat, and steel, whatever, it's a fact. Now, your body can only handle so much, and so you have to help it out a little bit. Out here sweating every day, letting that air cool you off. It's a natural evaporative cooling system. That's what men used to do back in the day, and you can do it too. But that alone, I have found, is difficult to do. So I've got a little bit of an extra secret weapon, and I'm going to show that to you. You need to go to your local store. This just came from the grocery store, and get yourself some naturally made apple cider vinegar. All right, so back when there was work in the fields and in the factories, or just in the blacksmith shop, the wagon maker shop, whatever, people are out there working. AC didn't exist. People had to survive. They were closely connected to the land and the agricultural endeavors. And so you had an orchard, and when you had an orchard, you made apple cider with the apples that weren't fit for eating or drying or turning into applesauce. You made cider, and then from some of that cider, you would make vinegar. And all the things that are built into the natural world that we have forgotten so much of is what you used to live and to maintain a level of health. Now, obviously, they didn't have things like antibiotics that are life-saving. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about maintaining a baseline level of health in the kind of environment that you live in. This stuff right here helps your body combat heat and survive the heat. I first learned this trick. It's not a trick. I first learned this knowledge from a guy named Christopher Nairges, who is a wilderness survival instructor in Southern California. And this is before I ever even started making knives. And he taught that if you put a teaspoon, I believe it was a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar into your 1 quart of water per quart, when you're out hiking in the mountains in the heat, or just wherever you were in the heat, and out doing some kind of physical activity, that's going to help your body combat the heat, and you're going to be able to function a lot better. I can attest to this fact. I have found it to be true. When I don't have my ACV in my water, I struggle a lot more. I don't even measure it. I just pour a little bit in on my quart jar here to taste. It's got a nice appley sort of zip or tang to it, which is frankly better to drink than just plain water, in my opinion. More enjoyable, and especially when you're drinking a lot of water, and it really helps. So that was my first introduction to this technique or method or use of this supplement to help you in the heat. I later found or learned that it's been broadly used, especially in parts of New England and so forth in America during hay season. Haying season during the summer, different outdoor types of labor that many people used to do. And it was called haymaker's punch or switchel. And you can go onto YouTube here and find various videos about that. They would do the ACV, but then also add ginger, which I've got a little bit of ginger in here as well, and then sweeten it with like maple syrup or molasses. And that also kind of gave you an energy component. All those things together that would create this basically a colonial era Gatorade, but without the food coloring and the sugar and the additives and crud that you don't need. And that's how you would work out in the heat all day and not end up with heat exhaustion or heat stroke and muscle cramps and all the bad things that can happen, and you'd stay hydrated and stay functioning. There's people that drink the ACV every day. I do anyway, even when it's not hot, because it's really good for your liver and a lot of other things. But the heat aspect, very important. So this is what I do. I drink multiple jars of this every day when I'm in the heat here, and it really makes a difference. Anyway, hopefully this video was helpful to you in your warm environment where you're working or something, and you might find it beneficial. Even if it's not hot out, go get some ACV. It'll benefit you. At least I think so. So take it for what it's worth. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you on the next video.